Hello and welcome to the Tin Man Show. I am your host, Ethan Zimmerman, and today we are going to be reading the Bible. We're starting with Genesis chapter 28 today. A little recap of the previous chapters. We had not a whole lot going on, honestly. The most interesting thing that was sort of happening is that Isaac got old and he was blind, and his two sons, his two favorite sons, I think, because he had other sons, maybe, I'm not sure. Nothing is clear in the Bible. But his sons Jacob and Esau or Yasu, something like that. It's going to be some form of those pronunciations. Um, Esau was the older one, and he as the older one was supposed to be getting like all the birthrights and stuff. But Jacob and Jacob's mother, Isaac's wife, decided to pull a sneaky on him, and they like tricked Isaac into blessing Jacob instead of Esau, and making it so that Esau had to like serve Jacob and stuff like that. And so last things that happened in the previous chapter was Esau was like sort of planning to kill his brother Jacob, which is admittedly extreme, but also for the time period he just stole his birthright and everything, and then was forced to become Jacob's servant. So perhaps an understandable reaction. We're starting here with Genesis chapter 28. Yeah, let's go. And Isaac called Jacob and blessed him and charged him and said unto him, Thou shalt not take a wife of the daughters of Canaan. Arise, go to Paradannum, to the house of Bethuel, thy mother's father, and take thee a wife from thence the daughters of Laban, thy mother's brother. That is really strange. Again, he's saying, hey, go marry one of your cousins, right? Take a wife from the daughter of your uncle, which is, your cousin, yeah, that's fun. We love the Bible's bloodlines. And God Almighty bless thee, and make thee fruitful, and multiply thee, that thou mayest be a multitude of people, and give thee a blessing of Abraham to thee and to thy seed with thee, that thou mayest inherit the land wherein thou art a stranger, which God gave unto Abraham. And Isaac sent away Jacob, and he went to Paradannum unto Laban, the son of Bethuel the Syrian, brother of Rebekah, and Jacob and Esau's mother. When Esau saw that Isaac had blessed Jacob, he sent him away to Paradannum to take a wife from thence. As he blessed him, he gave him a charge, saying, Thou shalt not take a wife of the daughters of Canaan. And that Jacob obeyed his father and mother, and was gone to Paradannum. And Esau, seeing that the daughters of Canaan pleased not Isaac his father, then went Esau unto Ishmael, and took unto the wives of which had Mahalath the daughter of Ishmael Abraham's son, the sister of Najabath, to be his wife. And Jacob went out from Beersheba and went toward Haran. And he lighted upon a certain place, and tarried there all night. But because the sun was set, he took of the stones of that place, and put them for his pillows, and lay down in the place to sleep. Okay, so they both went off to different cities to get wives, I guess, because Isaac and Rebekah are very prejudiced against the Canaanites, although they've given very little reason, if any, as to a reason why. It's it's boring. All of this is boring. Okay. Let's see. And he dreamed, and behold, the ladder sat up upon the earth, and that the top of it reached to heaven, and behold, angels of God ascending and descending on it. Wasn't that like the whole reason that God destroyed the Tower of Babel? Like he didn't want humans to be able to reach heaven or something like that? And behold, the Lord stood above it and said, I am the Lord God of Abraham thy father, and the God of Isaac. And the land whereon thou liest, to thee I will give it, and to thy seed. And thy seed shall be as the dust of the earth, and thou shalt spread abroad to the west, and to the east, and to the north, and to the south. And in thee and thy seed all the families of the earth be blessed. And behold, I am with thee, and I will keep thee in all places whither thou goest, and I will bring thee again unto this land, for I will not leave thee unto until I have done that which I have spoken to thee of. And Jacob awake out of his sleep, and said, Surely the Lord is in this place, I knew it not. But he was afraid, and he said, How dreadful is this place! This is none other but the house of God, and this is the gate of heaven. And Jacob rose early in the morning, and took the stone that he had put for his pillows, and set it up for a pillar, and poured oil atop of it. And he called the name of that place Bethel, but the name of that city was called Luz at the first. And Jacob vowed a vow, saying, If God will be with me, and will keep me this way that I go, and will give me bread to eat, and raiment to put on, so that I may come again to my father's house in peace, then shall be the Lord my God of this stone which I have set for a pillar shall be God's house. And all that thou shalt give me will surely be the tenth. Well, I will surely give the tenth unto thee. So he's saying, everything that you give, I'm gonna pay tithing, do sacrifice or whatever to give you some of what you have allowed me to have. We are over halfway done now with Genesis, not with the Bible. That would be wonderful. We're almost halfway done. We're over halfway done with Genesis as a whole. And overall, I do not have wonderful. Like it's very mediocre. It's just like, yeah, overall boring. It's not. I was more interested. I thought that there was going to be some slaughter of Jacob and Iasu, since Jacob took Isu or Iasu, whatever. I'm not going to pronounce it consistently. You just have to deal with it. Since he took his birthright or whatever, but apparently that's not going to happen. Whatever. Here we go. To Genesis chapter 29. Then Jacob went on his journey, and came to the land of the people of the east. And he looked, and beheld, and behold. Why does it say behold? Use the past tense, please, since you... And behold, a well in the field, and lo, there were 3 flocks of sheep lying by it. For out of that well they watered the flocks, and a great stone was upon the well's mouth. And thither were all the flocks gathered, and they rolled the stone up from the well's mouth, and watered the sheep, and put the stone upon the well's mouth in his place. And Jacob said unto them, My brethren, where be ye? And they said, Of Haran we are. And he said unto them, Know ye Laban the son of Nahor? And they said, We know him. And he said unto them, Is he well? And they said, He is well, and behold, Rachel's daughter cometh with the sheep. And he said, Lo, it is yet high day, neither is it the time that cattle should be gathered together. Water ye the sheep, and go and feed them. And he said, and they said, We cannot, until all the flocks be gathered together, till they roll the stone from the well's mouth, then we water the sheep. It's talking about flocks and gathered together. I assume this is likely supposed to be some kind of thing about the 12 tribes of Israel, because I'm pretty sure those are either Jacob's children or Jacob and Esau's children. Like all of Isaac's grandchildren are the fathers of the 12 tribes. And so it's talking about gathering stuff and sheep and shepherds and stuff. And so that's my guess. That's where I think this is going. But again, there's some cousin stuff going on that's too close in the bloodline. And yet while he spake with them, Rachel came with her father's sheep, for she kept them. And it came to pass, when Jacob saw Rachel the daughter of Laban his mother's brother, and the sheep of Laban his mother's brother, that Jacob went near, and rolled the stone from the well's mouth, and watered the flock of Laban his mother's brother. And Jacob kissed Rachel, and lifted up his voice, and wept. That's no. That's not good. I cannot. He's just like, I'm going to roll this stone off of a well so that my cousin can water her sheep or whatever. And because of that, I feel like I have the right to kiss you and then scream and cry. What a man. No, I don't like Jacob at all. Jacob is a meanie face man, boy. He first made his brother Esau like swear to give up his birthright if Jacob would like give him food so he wouldn't die. And then he like took the blessing from Esau and like all of the, yeah, I don't know. And now he's like, yes, I'm gonna go bang my cousin and then like assault her without her like consent or anything like that. He's like, yes, I moved the stone and now I'm gonna kiss you. I'm gonna scream and I'm gonna cry. A wonderful, well-rounded, definitely stable man. And Jacob told Rachel that he was her cousin and that he was Rebekah's son, and she ran and told her father. And it came to pass, when Laban heard the tidings of Jacob and his sister's son, that he ran to meet him and embraced him and kissed him and brought him to his house. Okay, so this actually makes it better. It makes it seem like it's probably just a greeting rather than like sexual assault. So that's good. Yeah, that's much more understand. Like the reason why I said that is because as a general rule, that's not what has been happening before, but I am definitely glad that it is, like a greeting rather than the sexual assault. That is definitely preferable. And Laban said to him, surely art thou my bone and my flesh, and he abode with him the space of a month. And Laban said unto Jacob, because thou art my brother. No, they're not siblings. Why are they? He's his, like, nephew. Because thou art my brother, shouldest thou therefore serve me for naught? Tell me, what shall thy wages be? And Laban had two daughters. The name of the elder was Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel. Leah was tender-eyed, but Rachel was beautiful and well-favored. And Jacob loved Rachel and said, I will serve thee 7 years for Rachel thy younger daughter. And Laban said, it is better that I give her to thee than I should give her to another man. Abide with me. And Jacob served 7 years for Rachel, and they seemed unto him but a few days for the love he had to her. Is this just because he didn't like have a dowry? Because in the last chapter or last like episode or things or whatever, the servant went over with the dowry and got Rebecca, Jacob's mom. But he had like a dowry of like some golden earrings and bracelets. And I'm wondering if the reason why he has to serve here is because he doesn't have a dowry with him. Which also doesn't make sense because Isaac gave him all that he had. Maybe it's because Isaac hasn't died yet. That might be it. Because or maybe that was Abraham. I don't remember. Anyway, Isaac had blessed Jacob with like wealth and prosperity or whatever. But I guess since Isaac hasn't died yet, Jacob does not get his inheritance yet. All right. Let's see. Oh, I lost my place. Here we go. And Jacob said unto Laban, give me my wife, for my days are fulfilled, that I may go in unto her. See, when they say that, they literally mean like so that I may penetrate. That's what this sentence means. And Laban gathered all the men of the place and made a feast. And it came to pass in the evening that he took Leah his daughter and brought her to him, and he went in unto her. And Laban gave unto his daughter Leah Zippoth his maid for a handmaid. Ooh. So he's like, I'm going to give one. Give, not like even permit would be better. But he's like, yes, I will gift you one of my daughters to be your wife, and I will gift you the other one to be your handmaiden. That's, I can't stress how yikesy this is. I don't. All right. And it came to pass that in the morning, behold, it was Leah. And what was Leah? And it came to pass that in the morning, behold, okay. Oh, so in the morning he like woke up and he figured out that he slept with the younger sister. the handmaid and not his wife. And he said unto Laban, What is this thou hast done unto me? Did I not serve with thee for Rachel? Wherefore then hast thou beguiled me? And Laban said, It must not be done so in our country, to give the younger before the firstborn. Fulfill her for a week, and we will give thee this also for the service which thou shalt serve with me 7 other years. Fulfill her for a week, and we will give thee also, and we will give thee this also for the service. Thou shalt serve me with me yet 7 other years. Okay. Besides me not really understanding the sentence, what I think I got from this is saying, you have to satisfy this younger girl, the younger sister, for a week, and then we will also give you her as well as the original girl, Rachel. I cannot say that I fully understand this. I can't say I fully comprehend this. Yeah, that's, yep. I don't like it. I don't like it. And so Jacob did and fulfilled her week, and he gave him Rachel his daughter to wife also. And Laban gave to Rachel his daughter Bilbah his handmaid to be her maid. So he's just like giving away all of his daughters to this couple now, which is also with one of his daughters. That's messed up. Like, imagine if you have any siblings, like younger siblings or anything like that, or even like any siblings at all. Imagine you get married, you get permission, or forced, honestly. It doesn't sound necessarily like Rachel has a whole ton of a choice here. Um, you're like forced to get married to someone, um, and then your siblings are forced to be your servants. Like, imagine being the sibling that's just forced to be a servant. He's just like giving away daughters as handmaidens or maids, whatever it is. Yep, yikesy stuff here. And it came to pass that in the morning, behold, no, I already read that. We are all the way down to here. And he went in also unto Rachel, and he loved Rachel more than Leah, and served with him yet another 7 years. Wait. So he had to serve for like 14 years to get Rachel? Because why didn't he tell this? None of this is good. Okay, here, I'm rereading this over here. And so he, it was Leah and it wasn't Rachel. And yeah, so that's wonderful, whatever. And it said he can't give Rachel because I'm so lost. I'm genuinely so lost. This is okay. The elder was Leah. Leah's the older one, not the younger one. The younger one's Rachel. That's my bad. I misread that. So he has to like give the older one first because whatever custom, and so he married Leah, the older one, and then had to serve for another 7 years in order to get Rachel. Get Rachel. That sounds so terrible. But in order to like have permission to marry Rachel after another 7 years, and so he's married to both of them. It appears. Uh, and when the Lord saw that Leah was hated, he opened her womb, but Rachel was barren. Okay, so since he liked Rachel more, God's like, nope, I'm gonna make it so that Leah gets pregnant and not Rachel. And Leah conceived and bare a son, and she called his name Reuben. Haha, Reuben. For she said, Surely the Lord hath looked upon my affliction, therefore now my husband will love me. Because now she has a son. And she conceived again, and bare a son, and said, Because the Lord hath heard that I was hated, he has therefore given me this son also. And she called his name Simon. And she conceived again, and bare a son, and said, Now this time my husband be joined unto me, because I have borne him 3 sons. Therefore his name is called Levi. We should have had Levi on for this. That would have been fun. She conceived again and bare a son, and said, "Now I will praise the Lord." Therefore she called his name Judah, and left bearing. So it sounds like she's either no longer having kids, um, but also it's not like she's conceiving these out of nowhere. Like, whatever, Jacob is like having sex with her, obviously. She's not, this isn't virgin birth type stuff. Um, None of these people are good people. None of them. Like, the only person that seems to have been even like somewhat decent is Isaac. I don't know. It's just, it's not, none of this is good. I don't know. All right. Well, we're moving on here. These are going through pretty fast. Um, Genesis chapter 30 here. And when Rachel saw that she bare Jacob no children, Rachel envied her sister and said unto Jacob, "Give me children, or else I die." Okay. Wow, dramatic much. All right. And Jacob's anger was kindled against Rachel, and he said, "Am I in God's stead, who hath withheld me from the fruit of the womb?" And she said, "Behold my maid Bilhah, go in unto her, and she shall bear upon my knees, so that I may have children by her." I'm not sure what that means. And she gave him Bilhah her handmaid to wife, and Jacob went in unto her. Okay, so he has 3 wives right now. Jacob has 3 wives. All 3 of them are sisters. They are all sisters. And here, this next one, and Bilhah conceived and bare Jacob a son. As of right now, he has kids with 2 out of these 3 sisters, and he's married to all 3 of them. And Rachel is suicidal because she's infertile or whatever. Behold my maid Bilhah, go in unto her, and she shall bear upon my knees, so that I may also have children by her. I don't know what this means. I don't know what this means. What does this mean? Like, what? No, bad. I don't. This is not good. This is all just yikesy. It's just. Eey. And Rachel said, God hath judged me, and he hath also heard my voice, and hath given me a son. Therefore she called his name Dan. What? No, she doesn't have a son. It's Bilhah. Wait, children by her. Wait. I don't know what the bear upon my knees things mean, but let's keep reading. Let me see. And Bilhah, Rachel's maid, conceived again, and bare Jacob a second son. And Rachel said, With great wrestlings have I wrestled with my sister, and have prevailed. She called his name Niphtah. Um, and Leah saw that she had left bearing, and she took Ziplah her maid, and gave Jacob her wife. No, this is a fourth sister, not sister. We don't know if this one's a sister. I don't think we know if this one's a sister. This is a fourth person, likely a sister. Let's be real, but like at the very least a fourth person. They're like competing for the number of babies they can have. Okay, what I think this is, I think she's having like children by proxy somehow. Like, of course, it's still Bilhah who's pregnant and giving birth, but for whatever reason, they're considered as Rachel's children. That's what it seems, and I don't know why or how. But okay. And so Leah is now infertile because of age, probably, and she gave her maid to Jacob to wife. And Zilpah, Leah's maid, bare Jacob a son, and Leah said, A troop cometh, and she called his name Gad, and Zilpah, Leah's maid, bare Jacob a second son, and Leah said, Happy am I, for the daughters will call me blessed. And she called his name Asher. And Reuben went in the days of the wheat harvest. That's one of the kids, right? I think that was the name of the kid from last chapter, one of the kids from last chapter. And Reuben went in the days of wheat harvest, and found mandrakes in the field, and brought them unto his mother Leah. Then Rachel said to Leah, Give me, I pray thee, of thy son's mandrakes. And she said unto her, Is it a small matter that thou hast taken my husband? Wouldest thou take away my son's mandrakes also? And Rachel said, Therefore he shall lie with thee tonight for thy son's mandrakes. That's so okay. So Rachel wants mandrakes, and she's saying, "Hey, give me some of those mandrakes that your son picked." And then Leah is saying, "Oh, you took my husband. Do you want to also take away my son's mandrakes?" Even though it was originally Rachel who Jacob was trying to marry, and it was originally Rachel who he had worked the 7 years for, and then he was like tricked. He was not told that he would be marrying Leah first. Um, okay, but then after all of that, Rachel says, okay, so it says he. I'm going to hope and I'm going to guess that this is he is in Jacob, not he is in her son Reuben. But Rachel is saying that he, whoever this he is, will have to lie with you, the Leah, tonight for your son's mandrakes. Okay, it is Jacob here. And Jacob came out of the field in the evening, and Leah went out to meet him and said, Thou must come into me, for surely I have hired thee with my son's mandrakes. And he lay with her that night. For surely I have hired thee? What is this? What is this? And God hearkened unto Leah, and she conceived, and bare Jacob a fifth son. And Leah said, God hath given me my hire, because I have given my maiden to my husband. And she called his name Issachar, or Issachar, something like that. And Leah conceived again, and bare Jacob a sixth son. And Leah said, God hath endued me with a good dowry, and now will my husband dwell with me, because I have borne him 6 sons. She called his name Zebulon. Afterwards she bare a daughter, and called her name Dinah. Imagine having like that many. What, she had 6 boys in a row, 6 sons, before having a daughter. That's crazy. That's whack. And God remembered Rachel, and God hearkened to her, and God opened her womb. Why did he block it in the... I don't... Can someone explain to me what this is, how this is good, and why this is doing? And Rachel conceived and bare a son, and said, God hath taken away my reproach. And she called his name Joseph, and said, The Lord shall add to me another son. And it came to pass, when Rachel had borne Joseph, that Jacob had said unto Laban, Send me away, that I may go into mine own place, and to my country. Give me my wives and my children, for whom I have served thee, and let me go, for thou knowest my service which I have done thee. And Laban said unto him, I pray thee, if I have found favor in thine eyes, tarry. For I have learned by experience that the Lord hath blessed me for thy sake. And he said, Appoint me thy wages, I will give it. And he said unto him, Knowest how I have served thee, and how thy cattle was with me? Okay, so it sounds like Laban, Jacob's stepfather and uncle, says, "Oh yeah, God likes you, and I have also flourished because God likes you. So I will appoint me thy wages." Okay, so he's saying, "I'll pay you here." At first, I thought it was that he was saying, uh, I'll work for you," but it sounds like he's saying that now, instead of unpaid labor or indentured servitude so that he can have a wife, he's saying, okay, now I'm going to pay you, I promise. And he said, yeah, so consider how much I've served thee and how good your cows were under my rule. For it was little which thou hadst before I came, and it is now increased unto a multitude. And the Lord hath blessed thee since my coming. And now when shall I provide for mine own house also? And he said, what shall I give thee? And Jacob said, thou shalt not give me anything. If thou wilt do this thing for me, I will again feed and keep thy flock. I will pass through all thy flock day. I will pass through all thy flock today, removing from thence all the speckled and spotted cattle, and all the brown cattle among the sheep, and the speckled and spotted among the goats, and of such shall be my hire. So he's saying, oh, you don't need to give anything to me. I'll keep tending your stuff as long as I also have my own separate flock of all of the not, it sounds like just the not pure white stuff. I don't think that's necessarily a racial thing. I think it's probably because they weren't white, but it's probably about purity, something like that. But he's gonna take all of the speckled, the spotted, the brown animals. So shall my righteousness answer for me in time to come, when it shall come for my hire before thy face. Every one that is not speckled and spotted among the goats and brown and sheep, that shall be counted stolen with me. What? Is he's not going to steal the rest of the things, is he? I don't understand this. I hope I will gain enlightenment in the short rest of this chapter. And Laban said, behold, I would it might be according to thy word. And he removed that day the goats that were ring-straked and spotted, and all the she-goats that were speckled and spotted, and every one that had some white in it, and all the brown among the sheep, and gave them unto the hand of his sons. And he set 3 days' journey betwixt himself and Jacob fed the rest of Laban's flocks. Wait, so it's Laban that's doing all of this stuff. So he's saying, "Oh, I will continue to tend your flock, but you need to leave." He's saying you get to take all the speckled goats and stuff. It's Laban that's like leaving. That's so weird. I don't understand this at all. I don't know why. I don't even know what parable, what kind of metaphor lesson you can learn from this. And Jacob took him rods of green poplar, and the hazel and chestnut tree, and piled white strakes in them, and made the white appear which was in the rods. And made the white appear. I assume that's the insides, not necessarily sugar cane, but sap or whatever that's in the middle of these tree rods or whatever, plant rods. And he set the rods which he had piled before the flocks in the gutters and the watering troughs where the flocks came to drink. They should conceive when they came to drink. Does he think that giving sugar or whatever it is, giving sap to these animals is going to make them fertile or pregnant or whatever it was? And the flocks conceived before the rods, and brought forth cattle ring-straked, speckled, and spotted. And Jacob did separate the lambs, and set the faces of the flocks towards the ring-straked, and all the brown in the flock of Laban. And he put his own flocks by themselves, and put them not unto Laban's cattle. And it came to pass, whensoever did the stronger cattle conceive, that Jacob laid the rods before the eyes of the cattle in the gutters, that they may conceive among the rods. It sounds like he made a pen for them. Okay, cool. But when the cattle were feeble, he put them not in. And so the feebler were Laban's, and the stronger were Jacob's. And the man increased exceedingly, and had much cattle, and maidservants, and manservants, and camels, and asses. Jacob is a mean person. I don't like Jacob. He's like, I'm gonna give you the weak ones. He's not like, I'll take half of them, half of the weak ones, or whatever. He's like, no, you're getting all the weak cattle. You're getting all the spotted ones or whatever. I don't like Jacob. Jacob's a meanie face, meanie pants man. All right. Genesis chapter 31. We've got like 20 chapters left. And away we go. He heard of Genesis, not of the entire Bible. 20 chapters left of Genesis. And he heard the words of Laban's son, saying, Jacob hath taken away all that was our father's, and of that which was our father's hath he gotten all this glory. Yes, he did. That is true. That is correct. Yes. Go watch the last chapter again. Like that's exactly what happened. And Jacob beheld the countenance of Laban, and behold, it was not towards him as before. And the Lord said unto Jacob, Return unto thee the land of thy fathers, and to thy kindred, and I will be with thee. And Jacob sent and called Rachel and Leah to the field unto his flock, and said unto them, I see thy father's countenance, that it is not towards me as before, but the God of my father hath been with me. What does it mean it's not towards him as before? Like, is he not as well off as he previously was? Because that's what I'm sort of taking from that. And know that with all my power have I served your father. Yeah, you also served yourself. You were like taking all the good stuff for yourself. It literally said that. You were taking all the strong cattle and giving all the weak to your uncle, which is also his wife's father. Yeah. And your father hath deceived me and changed my wages 10 times, but God suffered him not to hurt me. None of the people are good. That's, yeah. Jacob's uncle's stepfather did originally deceive him and like lied to him, and forced like 14 years of basically unpaid labor out of him, which is kind of that's neat and all. It's not like Jacob's not like justified, but it's definitely understandable. Like the entire system that they had to live in there was just weird and wrong and backwards. Yeah. All right. Thus God hath taken away the cattle of your father and give them to me. No, you took away the cattle of your uncle, which is also your wife's father, and took them for yourself. And it came to pass that at the time the cattle conceived, that I lifted up mine eyes and saw in a dream, and behold, the rams which leaped upon the cattle were ring-straked, speckled, and grizzled. Is that why he gave all the bad cattle, all the spotted and speckled and brown cattle to Laban, his uncle, stepfather, so that like they would get attacked instead of his own cattle? And the angel of God spake unto me in a dream, saying, Jacob. And I said, Here I am. And he said, Lift up now thine eyes, and see, all the rams which leap upon the cattle are ring-straked, speckled, and gristled, for I have seen all that Laban doeth unto thee. I am the God of Bethel, where thou anointedst the pillar, and where thou vowedst a vow unto me. Now arise, get thee from this land, and return to the land of thy kindred. So, interesting. So, here. He's like, oh yeah, so pretty much all the rams, I didn't know that rams, attacked sheep and cows. That doesn't seem right, but we'll go with it. But this is an angel, and the angel of God. The angel of God. I am the God of Bethel. What I'm taking from this is that there are minor gods. Like this is it in what I'm kind of seeing this as like a patron saint of the Catholic Church type of thing, where it's like, oh, they're venerated, but literally it says that he is the God of Bethel, like how different cities would have their own, patron gods that protected their cities in ye olde days when people believed in those, like individual gods for individual cities. That's what it sounds like. This angel is the god of this city where he like set up a pillar or something, um, after he slept on it and had a vision. A rock would not be a very comfortable pillow. I just have to say that. Like he said that he slept on this pillow, this rock as a pillow. That you're gonna have neck pain. Um, And Rachel and Leah answered and said unto him, Is there yet any portion or inheritance for us in our father's house? Are we not counted of him strangers? For he hath sold us and hath quite devoured also our money. Yes, he did sell you. That's because it was backwards, and they saw women as property. For all the riches with God hath taken from our father, that is ours and our children's. Now then, whatsoever God hath said unto thee, do. Then Jacob rose up and set his sons and wives upon camels, and he carried away all his cattle and all his goods which he had gotten, the cattle of his getting which he had gotten in Paradam, for to go to Isaac his father in the land of Canaan. And Laban went to shear his sheep, and Rachel had stolen the images that were her father's. What images? But yeah, cool, good for you, Rachel. And Jacob stole away, unawares, to Laban the Syrian, that he told him not that he fled. So he fled with all that he had, and he rose up and passed over the river and set his face towards the Mount Gilead. And it was told Laban on the third day that Jacob was fled. So he figured it out after 3 days. And he took his brethren with him and pursued after him 7 days' journey, and they overtook him in the Mount Gilead. And God came to Laban the Syrian in a dream by night, and said unto him, Take heed that thou speak not to Jacob either good or bad. Then Laban overtook Jacob, and now Jacob had pitched a tent in the mount, and Laban with his brethren pitched in the Mount of Gilead. What? Then Laban overtook Jacob. All right. Now Jacob set up camp in his tent in the mount, and Laban with his brethren also set up camp. Wonderful. I don't know why it's all written terribly. And Laban said to Jacob, What hast thou done, that thou hast stolen away unawares to me, and carried away my daughters as captives taken with the sword? Okay, so it may just be me, Laban, or it kind of sounds like he's his own person, he's his own free man, he's not serving you for another 7 years. He already served you for 14 years of unpaid labor to get 2 wives and some handmaids or whatever. He's his own person. Yes, they're your daughters, but you sold them to him. I don't understand. No, this is all no. Wherefore didst thou flee away secretly and steal away from me, and didst not tell me, that I may have sent thee away with mirth, and with songs, and tabret, and harp? Is that what he's saying? He's like, oh yeah, you stole away, but I only wanted to send you a going away party. That's why I chased after you with all of my brethren. And hast not suffered me to kiss my sons and daughters? He didn't take any of your sons. Thou hast now done foolishly in so doing. It is in the power of my hand to do you hurt, but the God of your father spake unto me yesternight, saying, Take thou heed that thou speak not to Jacob either good or bad. And now, though thou wouldest needs be gone. I hate reading this. This is terrible. Because thou sore longest after thy father's house, yet wherefore hast stolen my gods? What? Let me reread this because this is painful. And now, though thou wouldest needs be gone, because thou sore longest after thy father's house. Okay, so that's because something or other. This website, it's called kingjamesbibleonline.org. I think it has, that's context, it has here, this. Also, let's look at other translations. None of those look good. Okay. It's not just that. I want the whole thing. It says, foolish man, to call those gods that could be stolen. Could he expect protection from them that could neither resist nor discover their invaders? I don't... Who's Wesley? Thank you, Wesley, for not being good. We are all the way over here somewhere. This is high quality content. Here. Would your needs be gone? like I'm going to take that as now you're provided for, you have all your needs are met. Because thou sore longest after thy father's house. Okay, because you want to go to your father's house. The whole, yet wherefore hast thou stolen my gods? And this is different gods, his gods, not uh, not Jacob's gods, not Jacob's father's God. God here is capitalized, God's here is lowercase. I don't understand. And Jacob answered and said to Laban, because I was afraid, for I said, peradventure is like mayhaps. Mayhaps thou wouldest take by force thy daughters from me. With whomsoever thou findest thy gods, let him not live. Before our brethren discern thou what is thine with me, and take it to thee. For Jacob knew not that Rachel had stolen them. Oh, wait, it said, where was it? Rachel stole the images. That's what it was. Okay, so Rachel stole like the statues or whatever that her father worshipped. That's more understandable now. Okay. Um. Oh, okay. Interesting. And Laban went into Jacob's tent and into Leah's tent and into the two maidservants' tent, but he found them not. And he went out of Leah's tent and entered into Rachel's tent. First, that's kind of interesting that they're all in different tents, considering that he's married to literally every single one of the four of them. And even if he had his own tent, it's weird that like Leah and Rachel aren't respectively with their own like maidservants. I wonder why that is. Now Rachel had taken the images and put them in the camel's furniture and sat upon them. And Laban searched all the tent, but he found them not. And she said to her father, let it not displease my lord that I cannot rise up before thee, for the custom of women is upon me. And he searched and found not the images. Okay, so she like put the images in the camel sack or whatever and was on the camel. And Laban, her dad, was like looking at the tent and couldn't find it. And she said, oh, sorry, I can't get off this camel because I am, oh, she's on her period. And he looked around, but he couldn't find these statues. And Jacob was wroth and chode with Laban. And Jacob answered and said to Laban, what is my trespass? What is my sin that hast so hotly pursued after me? Whereas thou hadst searched all of my stuff, what hast thou found all of thy household stuff? Set it here before my brethren and thy brethren, that they may judge betwixt us both. This 20 years I have been with thee, thy ewes and thy she-goats have not cast their young, the rams of thy flock have I not eaten. That which was torn of beasts I brought not unto thee, I bear the loss of it. My hand didst thou require it, whether stolen by day or stolen by night. He was with him for 20 years, which is sure. He was there for 6 years after having paid off his 14 years for his two different wife siblings. Yeah, but he's saying, I don't know why he's saying that his, like the ewes and the she-goats didn't have kids. Like, I don't know what that has to do with it. He's saying, oh, what I hunted I didn't bring to you. But he also I don't, I cannot say that I have a super high comprehension level of this because it's just not written well. Thus I was in the day the drought consumed me, and the frost by night, and my sleep departed from mine eyes. Thus I have been 20 years in thy house. I have served thee 14 years for thy two daughters, and 6 years for thy cattle, and thou hast changed my wages 10 times. Except for the God of my father, the God of Abraham, and the God and the fear of Isaac had been with me, surely thou hast sent me away now empty. God hath seen mine affliction and the labors of my hands, and rebuked thee yesternight. And Laban answered and said unto Jacob, these daughters are my daughters, and these children are my children, and these cattle are my cattle, and all that thou seest is mine. What can I do in this day unto these daughters, unto their children, which they have been born? The children are not your children, they are your daughter's children, which is different. That's true, but all of this was given to him. He worked for like 20 years 20 years for you. Now therefore come thou, let us make a covenant, I and thou, and let it be a witness between me and thee. And Jacob took a stone and set it up for a pillar. And Jacob said unto his brethren, Gather stones. And they took stones and made a heap, and they did eat there upon the heap. And Laban called it he called it Juggernaut, but Jacob called it Galeed. And Laban said, This heap is a witness between me and this day. Therefore the name of it is called Galeed and Mizpah. And he said, And the Lord watch between me and thee when we are absent from one another. If thou shalt afflict my... Oh, this is Laban now, okay. If thou shalt afflict my daughters, or if thou shalt take other wives besides my daughters, no man is with us. See, God is betwixt me and thee. He already took other wives, and they are your... Wait, besides my daughters. Okay. That sort of cements it, what I thought, that the third wife of Jacob is also one of his daughters. What does it mean that no man is with us, see, God is between us? And Laban said to Jacob, Behold this heap, and behold this pillar, which I have cast betwixt me and thee. This heap be witness, and this pillar be witness, that I will not pass over this heap to thee, and thou shalt not pass over this heap and this pillar unto me for harm. Is it like saying that, here's a line, this is my side, this is your side, stay on your side, and I'll stay on mine? That's what it sounds like. The God of Abraham, the God of Nahor, the God of their father, judged betwixt us. And Jacob swore by the fear of his father Isaac. Then Jacob offered sacrifice upon the mount, and called his brethren to eat bread. And they did eat bread, and tarried all night in the mount. And early in the morning Laban rose up, kissed his sons and his daughters, and blessed them. And Laban departed, and returned unto his place. Well, that's rather anticlimactic. There was a lot in there that I didn't understand, but I don't think it's because I'm stupid, and I think it's just because I am uneducated in the ye olde customs of that day and time. Let's see, we have time for one more chapter. Let's go. Jacob prays for protection. Interesting. Genesis chapter 23. And Jacob went on his way, and the angels of God met him. And when Jacob saw them, he said, This is God's host. And he called the name of that place Mahanaim. And Jacob sent messengers before him to Esau his brother, and to the land of Seir, the country of Edom. And he commanded them, saying, Thus shall ye speak unto my lord Esau, Thy servant Jacob saith thus, I have sojourned with Laban, and stayed there until now. And I have oxen, and asses, and flocks, and manservants, and womenservants. And I have sent thee to tell my lord, that I may grace in thy sight. And the messengers returned to Jacob, saying, We came to thy brother Esau, and he also cometh to meet thee, 400 men with him. Wow. He's got a big entourage. Then Jacob was greatly afraid and distressed, and he divided the people that was with him, and the flocks, and the herds, and the camels, into 2 bands. And he said, If Esau come to the one company and smite it, then the other company which is left shall escape. Yes, don't put all your eggs in one basket. But it seems like while you were there being a shepherd for 20 years, after like stealing Esau's birthright and everything, he was over there like amassing an army. I wonder if the whole thing was like, it's probably some sort of, it's probably because of like religion or a religious practice or something, but he already took the birthright of his brother. He already besmirched his blood, his own blood, by taking away the birthright of the firstborn and everything. Why didn't he just kill his dad and get his birthright right then? Like, he was not, Jacob is not above being a total asshole. Like, that's been shown time and time again. He is not a good person. I don't know why he just didn't. It wouldn't necessarily be surprising within his character arc, I guess, if he killed his dad to get his inheritance. Deliver me, I pray thee, from the hand of my brother, and from the hand of Esau, for I fear him, lest he will come and smite me, and the mother with the children. And thou saidst, I surely will do thee good, and make thy seed as the sand of the sea, which cannot be numbered for multitude. And he lodged there that same night, and took of that which came to his hand a present for Esau his brother, 200 she-goats and 20 he-goats, 200 ewes and 20 rams, 30 milk camels and their colts, 40 kine, 10 bulls, 20 she-asses, and 10 fowls. Is it pronounced full? It's full, right? That's how it's pronounced? I think it's pronounced full. And he delivered them into the hand of his servants, and every drove by themselves. What? And said unto his servants, Pass over before me, and put a space betwixt drove and drove. So he's saying, like, separate them all out, make sure they don't die or whatever. And he commanded the foremost, saying, When Esau my brother meeteth thee and asketh thee, What are those, and whither goest thou, and whose are these before thee? And thou shalt say, They be thy servant Jacob's. It is a present sent unto my lord Esau, and behold, also he is behind us. Okay, and so he commanded the second and the third and all the follow drove, saying, In this manner you shall speak unto Esau when you find him. Are you just giving away all the stuff that you just fought for in the last chapter? Or is this another treachery? And when the present, let's see, any moreover, okay. And saying, Moreover, behold, thy servant Jacob is behind us. For he said, I will appease him with the present that goeth before me, and afterward I will see his face, and peradventure he will accept of me. So went the company over. So went the present over before him, and lodged himself that night in the company. And when he rose up and took his 2 wives and his 2 women servants and his 11 sons, and passed over the ford Jabbok. And he took them and set them over the brook, and sent over that he had. And Jacob was left alone, and there wrestled a man with him until the breaking of the day. Is that just like they're doing an good old like wrestling match? Or is that like a euphemism for something else? Until the breaking of the day. Yeah, all night he wrestled with this guy. All right. And then here we have, and when he saw that he prevailed not against him, so this may just be actual wrestling, but then it says, he touched the hollow of his thigh. I don't know what the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint means. Maybe he, not out of, dislodged, dislocated, that's it. He dislocated his leg. The hollow of Jacob's thigh, whatever it is. He said, Let me go, for the day breaketh. And he said, I will not let thee go, except thou bless me. And he said unto him, What is thy name? And he said, Jacob. And he said, Thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel. For as a prince hast thou power with God and men, and hast prevailed. And Jacob said to him, Tell me, I pray thee, thy name. And he said, Wherefore is it thou dost ask after my name? And he blessed him there. And Jacob called the name of the place Peniel, for I've seen God face to face, and my life is preserved. And as he passed over Peniel, spelled differently. It's just straight up, it's spelled differently. The sun rose upon him, and he halted upon his thigh. Therefore the children of Israel eat not of the sinew which shrank, which is of the hollow of the thigh unto this day, because he touched the hollow of Jacob's thigh and the sinew that shrank. Ignoring this last part that I still don't understand, it sounds like he wrestled God. Like, that's what it sounds like to me, that he wrestled God. He saw God face to face. And I assume this is one of the stuff that, you get in folk tales and mythology and stuff, and they're like, and that's why there's seasons, and that's why the monkey has a tail, and that's why the snake crawls on its belly, and that's why they don't eat of the sinew which shrank, which is upon the hollow of the thigh. So I assume that's something to do with that, because God touched Jacob's inner leg or something. I think that is going to do it for us today. Yeah, we read through, this is a short one, but I'm not going to do it. We're already over the hour mark. We're close to it. And so, yeah, we're ending this here. Thank you for joining me. and like listening through me stumble through all of this. If you enjoyed this, if you want to keep reading this, if you want to maybe, come on the show and do some stuff, I will likely have a guest on next week, um, of some sort. And yeah, we're gonna do more reading and stuff. We have not that many chapters left. Out of 50, we have this many. What's what? 17, something like that. 17 chapters left. Uh, so we're getting close to the end of Genesis, but there's admittedly a lot of books. Hopefully, they're not all as long as Genesis is, but that's just the Old Testament, and there's the New Testament. Um, but yeah, we're nearly done with Genesis. It'll be a couple more weeks, and then we'll finally be done. Um, but yeah, thank you for joining me with this. I hope you've enjoyed again my stumbling through these chapters. Yeah, hit all the YouTuber buttons, do the things, click the buttons. It's good. It does good. Help me out. Yeah. What a wild set of chapters. Yeah, thank you. I am Ethan Zimmerman, your host, and you have been watching The Tin Man. I'll see you around.